You guys asked for it, so here it is, a deep dive of my new album, Saturnine, which I am so excited that I could finally tell you guys about, because I've been sitting on these songs forever. It is my third independent album, which I cannot believe. So many of you guys have supported me from day one, and now I'm on to releasing my third full-length independent record, and that's incredible. So thank you guys, especially the ones who've been around since I started in 2017 or something. So some of you guys have been around forever, and I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I asked you guys last week what would you want, and you said a deep dive of every song on the album. So that's what this is going to be. This is chapter 0, and every week I'll probably post 2 songs kind of going into each track, how I wrote it, what the recording was what the theme was, and kind of what the message was behind the song. So then you guys have the full experience when you listen to the record when it comes out. So I kind of want to start out just kind of explaining the concept of the album, which when I first started writing for it in 2023, I just wanted to put out singles. That was really my goal. I just wanted to put out singles and experiment with my sound, my vocal delivery, and kind of my songwriting style. That was really what I set out to do. But then very quickly I realized the songs started fitting together. And then I was like, this is an album. Clearly it feels like the songs belong together. I was just listening to a lot of 90s stuff that I really love, and that I've always been inspired by. I've always loved trip hop from that era, dream pop, I love Mazzy Star so much, and just a lot of grungy sound. So that's kind of what this album took on sonically. And as far as the songwriting on it, they all kind of were more dark. I think on the last record I really leaned into the saccharine, really romantic vibe, and I think I just had it in me. I really want to play with writing darker stories, and really leaning into my sad boy aesthetic that you all know so well. And then also, I think I typically do write from a place of a narrative, and some of the tracks on this album kind of have me exploring more of a introspective, self-reflective place, which I don't really write from a lot. I like telling stories in my songs, so it's fun for me to kind of challenge myself in that way too. So yeah, the album for me really was a big experimentation, and it just kind of came together in this really somber, dark collection of songs that I just thought the word Saturnine just seemed to fit perfectly. I can't wait to share it with you guys. And also, there are 11 tracks on the record, but there's gonna be a deluxe follow-up EP with probably 5 more, so that's also coming. So you'll have 4 new songs plus all the singles you've already had, plus a 5-track EP coming later this year too. So lots and lots of new music. I'm so excited just to be doing this stuff again, because I love it so much. And your reaction just to me sharing that album cover is it totally re-energized me in my belief that oh, there are still people here that care. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, stick around for the deep dive of the first track on the album next week.
Stay awake tonight. Your turn to watch.
Welcome to chapter 1 of the deep dive of all the songs on my new album, starting out with track 1, which is Witch Hunting. This song I thought had to open the record because it is probably the most experimental thing I've ever done, and that kind of was the running theme for me when I was making this, was experimentation of my sound and vocal style, and just in different ways I could play in the studio. And this song, from start to finish, just felt like a big experimentation of things I felt probably shouldn't work together, but it really came together in such a cool way. The verses start out in this kind of ambient electronica, trip hop vibe. And then the chorus kind of takes on this very dark pop, eerie, spooky, witchy vibe. There's this plucked guitar melody that just, again, it feels like it shouldn't work, but it works so well in context of the song. And I even feel fit in a harpsichord. I think the hardest thing for me is always harmonies, and I stacked so many harmonies in the pre-chorus because I really wanted it to feel full and kind of haunting. And I will struggle with harmonies for hours because I never know how many to do. Should I do every single line a full harmony? Should I only do certain words? And I get stuck on it for hours, but I'm really happy with the way the harmonies came out in the pre-choruses and outro in the song. Now, I don't think I ever get like political with my music, but I think that this song probably has the most like layers of any song I've written. I think on the surface it's very much just about anyone who's ever felt other or like they're being attacked for who they are. I think that that's kind of the darkness in the song, but then the song's also kind of just about found family and sticking together and kind of riding things out until it's safe. And I think for me, like a big part of the song was kind of to say, you're never going to hate someone so much that they love you, and you're never going to force someone to respect you. And I think that that's a real power of not having to like maybe stoop to someone's level or anything. It's kind of just about like keeping your head high and sticking with the people who help you. And I think that that for me was just trying to say like, hold on to your light even when you feel like there isn't any. And I think it was kind of just the perfect track to kind of lead you into the world of the album.
They're out hunting. They're coming for our kind.
Alright, welcome to chapter 2 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. Track number 2 is called Sweet on Me, and this is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written. It's one of those songs that like if you're trying to like show my music to someone and like explain me as an artist, like it's one of those songs where it really just shows who I am and what my music's about in one song. It kind of leans into my most like dream poppy, like I wouldn't say the chorus is like full-on shoegaze, but it's definitely like shoegaze inspired, and that was the fun experimentation for me on this record.
Sweet on me, but I don't really mind.
Experimenting both like with synths. I haven't done a lot of synth heavy songs, so the verses kind of play with like ambient synth sounds, and then the chorus like super heavy like shoegaze light electric guitar. I think my favorite thing about the song is just how it progressively builds. Like it starts off, like I said, so ambient, very dreamy, and then the song kind of bursts into the chorus, and then the middle eight builds even more tension before this big release of a guitar solo. I think that it really does feel like a sonic journey, and I think that the song lyrically feels like a journey too. It's very much about, I always say like about that like let's run away together feeling. It's about two people who just instantly have a connection, and then they just want to drop everything and go off and like live out this fantasy life that they probably talked about for like one night. Like that's like the intensity of a new love, a new frame and connection like that. Like the second verse, I think the lyrics in that like are probably my favorite.
I get that once in a lifetime feeling.
Just like captures the intensity of like just that crazy intense feeling in a new romance.
Love takes over me.
This is chapter 3 of my album breakdown. Track 3 is Blush.
Waiting for this baby, now you're standing at my door.
Blush was the first song I put out from this project, and when I wrote it, I didn't realize that I was making an album at the time. I kind of just was making random singles. Like for this one, I was just listening to a lot of Mazzy Star, and I was like, you know what, I really want to write like an early 90s vibe. That was like my only goal at the time, and it was like about to be summer, and I wanted to write something that was kind of beachy. That was really my only goal when I went to the studio, was I just wanted to make something beachy and hazy sounding. There are like a lot of like ambient like beach noises in the background. I wanted some of the pads and like background synths to kind of like almost sound like waves crashing, or like bird calls you'd hear like in the distance on like a beach. And like I feel like the concept of the song was pretty straightforward. It's kind of just like about an old flame who like still has your heart. So it's like you're trying to move on, you're starting a new life, but then you know if this person comes back into your life, like it's done. You're just gonna like be like, sure, well let's start this back up again. So I think the story's kind of fun. The song is so summery sounding.
Don't you make me
as I started producing it, the goal in my mind was I want it to be like Fade Into You meets like Gwen Stefani's Cool. Like, I don't know, like that song in particular, like just feels like summer to me. Like the sound of Cool, I just love it. I love the guitar in it. It just has such like this melancholy, like yearning, so summery vibe, and that's really what I was trying to capture. I don't know if I was successful, but if you like hear those like undertones, I'm happy because that was what I was going for.
Don't you make me blush. You're gonna steal me away from my love.
Alright, this is chapter 4 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. The next song is called Talk to Me. It's one of the new ones you guys haven't heard, and I like to describe this song as like a pre-breakup song. That's like what the lyrics go into. It's kind of like that point in a relationship where the communication's breaking down and you just don't know what to say to each other, and the lyrics kind of describe like reminiscing on the past and trying to get things back to what they once were.
There's no you and me, so far from love, I just can't believe it. Don't you even wanna try to talk to me, baby?
And this was like the little demo that could for me. I probably wrote the chorus to this like probably almost like 5 years ago as just like a random songwriting exercise. Sometimes I'll just write like a 4-chord melody and just try to come up with a chorus in any random genre just to try to like, you know, work on my songwriting. And the chorus to this song came out of one of those, and it stuck with me forever. But when I produced that little chorus demo, it was this like really 80s pop sounding track, and that's not at all really what I do, so it never really made any sense to like do anything with it. Like I said, it always kind of just stuck with me. And when I was working on this project, which for me was just like experimenting, I kind of like revisited being like, why can't I put out this 80s pop sounding song? And I finished writing it, and then when I started working with my producer on it, we actually kind of transformed it from like this 80s pop song to a more late 90s kind of jam session track. When you hear it, I feel like that's what it sounds like to me, is it sounds like just like a band like jamming in their garage. And I love that kind of live feel to it. It was definitely like a little different for me. And also, like, you guys know I love singing my little like whispery, breathy vocal style. But this one for me, I've tried singing in more of like a full mix, which was, again, I don't do often on my own songs. So it was just fun all around experimenting with the genre and working on this old demo and making it fit in this world. So yeah, really excited for you guys to hear this one. Alright, this is chapter 5 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. Track 5 is Sunday School, which is my latest single. And the inspiration for this song was kind of like late 90s electronica, like The Verve and Enigma, like that kind of floaty, uplifting pop sound. For me, this song was telling a story that was all about a lesson I feel like I learned in unlearning things you were taught as a kid. I think as an adult, like, we kind of just have all these beliefs that were instilled in us when we were younger, and a lot of times we just take that for what it is without really analyzing, like, is this me? Is this actually what I think? Or is this just a thought and a belief that was like imposed on me, and for so long I just accepted it? The song is really just about figuring out who you are and what you actually believe, and letting go of things and beliefs that other people taught you that might be holding you back. And for me, that was really freeing.
Oh, Sunday school's closed, that shit don't last, while we still try.
I think one of my like favorite little production quirks in the song are these like little like synth bleeps. And they're kind of like this through line throughout the entire project. Like, you'll hear them throughout different songs. I love sonic elements like that kind of just make the whole thing cohesive and feel like a whole world together, where you hear certain production callbacks to different songs. And that was just one for me where you kind of hear it and it echoes other songs. And I'll say probably the most interesting thing about writing this one was it was one of those moments where I feel like the muse was just like in the room. Like I'm a type of songwriter who kind of comes up with a production I like and then record gibberish melody over it and then kind of like find something that hooks me and like that feels right, and then I'll like write lyrics on top of it. Like that's usually how I write. And for this one, I recorded basically the full melody you hear in the final song in just one gibberish take. And I loved every single part of it, and I was like, I couldn't let any of it go. And I think that that's why if you're listening to it, like you'll hear like the first verse and second verse and bridge don't really have any relation melodically. They're not really similar, and it's because I didn't really intend them to be. I was kind of just playing around, but like I loved them all. Because I think at one point I was trying to write a second verse that matched the same melody as the first verse, but I couldn't let that one go. I couldn't let anything go. So I kind of like how there's basically just kind of 3 verses in the song. Chapter 6 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. Track 6 is Kiss Me Like You Used To.
Our songs on the radio.
I think Kiss Me Like You Used To is probably the most me sounding song of anything on the album. I think that if you guys had been listening to my music for like my previous records, I think that this song is probably the most like familiar sounding. It kind of just sounds like me in my comfort zone, which I love for it. I feel like this is just like me doing what feels natural, and I love that about the song.
Would you kiss me like you used to? Honey, it's been so long.
I think the album kind of like gradually falls into like more somber and darker lyrics, and I feel like lyrically it's kind of similar to Talk to Me in that it's like an end of relationship song, like reminiscing on how things were at the beginning. But I think whereas Talk to Me still has that glimmer of hope, I feel like this song has that finality to it where you know it's done and you're kind of just going through the motions at that point, and you're kind of just sitting there reflecting and not feeling good enough, wondering where it went wrong and what you did and how you got to this point. And it's very in your head type of energy in the lyrics.
If it's too late, just say, looking for something better.
And I know you guys really loved this one in the video last summer, so it's special to me already.
Playing back with a clear view, wondering where do we go wrong.
Chapter 7 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. Track 7 is Invisible.
When you come home late, I ask you where you've been.
I think that those of you that like Sweet on Me are really gonna like this one. It has the same kind of shoegaze light energy in the chorus. It's very like hard-hitting electric guitar in the chorus. Again, kind of more like full vocal for me, which you guys know I don't do very often. And the story of the song is kind of about when you give your all to someone and you're doing everything you can for them and you help them in a moment of need, and then when they're better, they kind of just ghost you and they kind of don't need you anymore, and you're kind of left confused and like, what the hell just happened? Because now you're not needed, basically. Like, you fixed them, you got them through it, and now they kind of just want to live their life. Initially the song was called Ghost, and then I switched it to Invisible, like kind of at the last minute, because it says ghost a lot in the chorus, but then the line Invisible right till the end is in the bridge, and I just feel like that is like the climax of the song, and it just fits, so switched it, and Invisible it is. Eight of me breaking down all the songs on my new album. Track 8 is called Gone Boy. Gone Boy is like the big ballad of the album. It's definitely one of the songs that probably transformed the most from my demo to like the final production. The demo was basically a piano ballad. and it kind of like talked to me. We kind of brought it into more band jam session vibe.
This life feels like every other. Heaven knows why I'm the sucker. Angels rip the halo from my head.
And it's such like a good anchor point in the album. It's kind of like the peak of like darkness in the record. It's really probably my most self-reflective song I've ever written. It's really just reflecting on me being a highly anxious person. I've always been my entire life. I always have been an overthinker in every single way. And for the longest time, I'd get lost in it and kind of sucked into it. And like, I'd be gone for days. It'd take me to come out of whatever I was feeling in my head. And that's kind of what the song goes into lyrically, is kind of just me really sitting in it and owning up to all the things and all my ways up until that point.
And right before I disappear, I'll pick a fight to make it clear that I'm the only one who ever tried.
When you are lost in your head, you make up stories. You play things out in a million different scenarios and a million bad ways that could happen and what this person must have been thinking when they said this thing. And again, it's really just reflecting on how being in that state makes me feel. And writing this song was very helpful in that.
There's no sense in dwelling, easy said.
Welcome to chapter 9 of the breakdown of all the songs on my new album. Track 9 is called Call Off the Hounds.
I'm lying down, call off the hounds. I've been running as fast.
The previous song, Gone Boy, really leads so well into Call Off the Hounds, because Gone Boy is kind of like sitting in my anxiety and in the darkness, and Call Off the Hounds is very much trying to get out of it. It's really surrendering to the darkness and saying, do what you want with me, and then letting it pass through you. And of any song I've ever written, I think this song was probably the most important for me, because I learned that like when you don't express yourself and your emotions and the way you feel and the past things you've gone through, your body can only take so much. And I think that my body got to a point where I was just compiling all these stresses and different emotions that I never really expressed and felt a lot of the things I needed to feel. And it started having like taking a physical toll on my body. Like I started experiencing like crazy weird physical symptoms that I didn't understand, and I thought that there was actually something wrong with me, and it was really just my nervous system screaming. That's really what it was. It was literally screaming to be like, you need to like let go.
What do you mean I'm not fighting? I'm lying down across the bed.
And that's really what this song was about for me. So it was really important for me to write. Like I put it out, and like if no one even listened to this one, I don't even care. Like it was really just for me. And what I love about the song is just the beat is really relentless. It's very like a marching drum pattern. Again, kind of a more full vocal for me, just because I really was just like crying out for help at that point. So much of healing is in surrender and just saying, I'm fine being right where I am right now, and that's okay. Wherever I am right now is okay.
As fast as I can, I'm on the ground.
Welcome to the final chapter of the deep dive of all the songs on my new album. The last song on the album is called Faith.
Will you drink alone? Cold nights, porch light on.
Faith is probably up there with Sweet on Me as like my favorite on the record. I love the song so much. The production is like inspired by like Portishead and that kind of era of trip hop, and I've wanted to do a song like this forever, just in this style. And again, the songwriting for this one was super fast. I had the chord progression down in this kind of like meditative beat, and then the chorus just like fell out of me. Again, very muse in the room moment for me, and I am so in love with the way it came out. My producer Ben did this like killer distorted guitar solo. I love the electronic elements. I love how it also has really strong orchestral elements that kind of like sweep throughout. Like I've always wanted to put out a song like this. So again, it's another one of those where it was like, I don't care if anyone else likes it. I love the song. really the song is about finding someone to have faith in, and that you feel like you're home wherever you are as long as you're with that person who is a support system when you do have self-doubt. And in the song it says like, why lose faith in the path you chose? And it's kind of just having that person that's there to reassure you through your self-doubt, and that you know that as long as you have them, you can take anything on together. And like I said, throughout, I feel like there really is like a journey through the songs on the album, and there's something that just felt very right about closing it on the lyric, I feel I'm home. It just felt right, and that's really how I felt after listening to the project in full. And after that journey and all that darkness, you can kind of just walk into the light.